Yes, we want to thank you for logging in. Please make sure that you share on all your social media. Again, the Black Podcast is about making relevant connections and spreading the knowledge to our community. So if you just keep the post to yourself, you're not spreading the news. So you need to make sure that you share the video so that you never know whether this story may help you or somebody within your community. My name is Dr. Sherelle Hobson. I'm a student athlete resilience coach, as well as an athletic program enthusiast. And I'm just so excited and passionate about helping coaches to increase the matriculation on a high school basis. So a lot of times our high school, especially our predominantly Black males, are involved in athletics for either their way out or for something to do or for financial reasons to get to college or whatever it is. And so I really like to help coaches build those programs that are going to be relevant and really help to help the transition of our athletes so that they can go to college or just be productive in the community. Also, I'm an author, so you know that I have two books, Themes of Gold, Discovering Beauty and Brokenness, as well as Unleashing Your Full Potential. Within my books, I help to provide these tools, especially for our people to acknowledge what space they're really in. A lot of times, because we're naturally resilient, we just go in and we're moving, but we really don't take that time to know where we're really at in our own space. And so me and Brian here, we have created our company, HSBA, where we are just actively being involved in our community and making sure that we are making an impact in our educational system. So please make sure that you look out for all the newsletters and everything that we're doing, because it's bigger than the Black Podcast. Okay, we have a company that we are going to be inside the schools. We always talk about in education, it's broken and it's not for us. So here's our opportunity to be part of a solution and make sure that we create programs within our educational system to help the transition for our young Black men in particular, and women, to be successful in life or college or whatever that their future endeavors may be. So as you know, I'm very passionate about being productive in the Black community.
Yeah, boy. So I'm sitting here checking out these technical glitches that we may be experiencing. But we're here, guys, regardless of what obstacles may try to hold us. We actually had this wonderful guest booked a little while back. But hey, life happens, and we are so glad to have her here today. Just a snippet about myself, Brian Street, founder, CEO of Your Legacy Begins Now, where I really help to show individuals, it don't matter where you came from. It don't matter where you started. It don't matter what your last name was known of before you got to where you are today, because you can choose to surround yourself with individuals that can help you put the right things into your mind to give you the life that you desire to live and to live your life with purpose. Because your legacy begins now. One of my main focuses as of recently was helping our community really focus on the necessity of group economics. So we support each other. We allow each other to support us. We desire to ownership instead of going out and asking for, begging for, pleading for, protesting for this. No, let's develop our own, have ownership, support our own, keep that dollar in our community for a longer amount of time, position us to be able to continue to elevate who it is that we are. And I'm glad to see the guests that we have with us today. When we were looking at putting together a title for her, I'm like, I don't know what to title this. She does and has done and is a part of like everything. So this is just so we have the inexplicable Dr. Foster with us today. How's it going?
Hi.
We couldn't put your bio on the internet. We was like, man, we're gonna take up the content was like, you ran out of you about 4,000 words over. So we were like, okay, so they just
I'm struggling with that right now in my life, trying to figure out what exactly my title is or who I am or the best way to explain everything I do. So trust me, I'm working on it.
Hey, sometimes we just don't need no title. Be like, just forget the titles. I just do everything. So Absolutely. It is what it is. It is what it is. Well, we're just so excited to have you on, and we thank you for accepting the invitation to be on the Black Podcast. So we've seen that you're social media, and we know that you do a lot. But before we get into all the great things that you have accomplished, who are you? Where are you from? How were you raised? What is your background? Like, give us some insight on where it all started.
Ooh, it's so okay. I'm gonna work on my intro one day. Um, Ambassador Dr. Chanita Foster, depends on who we're talking to, what title I'll use. The ambassador comes via multiple ways. I was honored um, through United Nations Women's Global, became ambassador that way, became the ambassador of tourism for Zimbabwe, and then I'm an ambassador through South Africa through a program called KBN, which is Kingdom Building Network. So I'm almost an ambassador 3 times. A lot of people want to know the doctor. I'm actually not a medical doctor. Doctor of philosophy. I am a girl from Detroit. I like to say East Side. So East Side of Detroit, Detroit versus everybody. But there was a point in time in my life where, of course, my family transitioned and I actually grew up in the suburbs, Oak Park, Farmington Hills. But through growth in my life, I'm very proud to say that I am from Detroit, and it's something that I'm really proud of. And the people who I'm associated with, that's actually from there. So that's been a part of my growth and my journey, falling in love authentically with who I am and where I'm from. Because oftentimes, depending on your stature or where you go in life, oftentimes you kind of bury who you are or where you're from. And so I think I'm at a beautiful place in my life where I want people to know I'm from Detroit, and some of the struggles and the things that I've been through. I am a mom, a proud mom. When people say how many kids I have, I don't even know how to answer that question at this point. Because I don't know if we're talking about biologically adopted, the ones I'm financially responsible for on a daily basis. On a daily basis, I'll say a mother of 6. Some people say 1,006 because I'm a full-time philanthropist. So I feed close to, if not more than 1,000 children a day across the continent of Africa, and now working in the United States via Trinity Girls Network with the amazing Dr. Jacqueline Mohair. So I'm actually feeding families in the United States now. So we'll start with the philanthropy part first, long-winded, but it's my purpose work. It's my God work. I believe in helping people, saving people, growing people. I have a passion for orphans and widows. I don't know the widow part. I just think that traveling the continent of Africa and realizing that in different countries, oftentimes when a woman becomes a widow, she's often left to fend for self and figure things out for self because culture is so strong. So I have a heart for widows. I have a passion for girls in period poverty, meaning that a period is not a punishment. I'm even learning in the United States that period poverty is real. Girls don't have access to sanitary napkins or sanitary wear. And I'm out here fighting against and with countries who want to give out free condoms, so people can have safe sex. But at the same time, girls don't have access to sanitary napkins. So that's one of my biggest flights in philanthropy. And last but not least, access to clean, fresh water. I partner with the KJM Foundation, Kojo, and Ghana to make sure that we're providing fresh, clean water because people don't have access to clean water. So that's the philanthropic side, right? The
Yeah.
business side, we're just going to rush through the business side. The business side is just that I'm a serialpreneur. Anything that makes money and makes sense to me and speaks to me with some type of passion, I'll do. So that goes for taxes. Shout out to Sharisa and ASAP Tax, my ASAP Tax family, to me doing real estate. My father got me into real estate when girls were buying purses and shoes. I took my first money and purchased a house. My dad was like, "Somebody gonna give you $5,000 to go to Gucci store. We're gonna take that $5,000 and go buy a property." So I learned about properties early on in my life. Marketing and branding turned into a passion. So I did that. So I think from the philanthropy side, I confuse not philanthropy, from the entrepreneur side, I confuse people because I don't try to own the piece. I don't try to own the entire pie. I just want a piece of the pie. Meaning, if there's a real estate project, I don't have to do the whole project. I don't have to fund the whole project. I just want a piece of the pie. I don't have to own the whole tax company. You know, I could be a part of the franchise or be a partner. My business partner, Angel Ray, we've worked together on a lot of projects, and a lot of people get confused. People see me selling waist trainers and liquid lipo. I believe we live in a consumer nation. The sellers are rich, the buyers are poor. So, and I'm going to end it with this. Recently, someone sent me a message that almost offended me, and they said, I'm just so confused by who you are when I look at your Instagram page. You post your kids, then you're off in Africa saving kids. I look up, you trying to sell me a waist trainer, but now you have a class on depression. You know, you're a very confusing person. And I sat back and I was almost offended. I was like, am I that confusing? But then I realized that there's a blessing in who I am because I know authentically who I am and whose I am. So I
Yeah.
know what I'm called to do. And so that's the gist of who I am. So yes, it's long and it's a lot, but it's who I am.
But you know, it is long and it is a lot, but it's very productive, and it's women like you that we need in our community. Um, and so when we talk about when you talked about like coming from Detroit, we know that coming from the East Coast or coming from certain areas, there are challenges that we face, and there's trauma, and there's different things that we encounter. Who help to build, that helps to build who we are and where our passion comes from. And so I was also in that same boat where I felt like, okay, I like to work out, but I like to coach, athletes, but I like to mentor, but I kind of like doing. And so I started finding myself trying to limit, put myself in a box of, okay, maybe I need to narrow it down to one thing. But we know, like you said, you know who you are and whose you are. And so he's not a God of just doing one thing. That's why he wants us to have an abundant life. And so if that means that your abundance means doing 1,000 things, as long as you're productive and you're being humble in the things that you're doing, we don't have to limit ourselves to those things that we're doing in our life. So what are some of the things that, because I believe that, the ministry, we have to sum it all up. Somebody said, what's all the things that you're doing? I'm confused. I'm serving. That's what you're doing, right? Everything that you're doing is serving. So in whatever aspect that it is, if they're so confused, you want to know that I'm serving. So what helped you to feel like, or what inspired you to want to give so much? Because I know that constantly pouring into these different ministries or these different organizations or doing these different things takes a lot. It takes a lot from us. It's a lot of work, and people just think that you may just be talking to somebody, but when you're going and you're ministering to somebody, or these young girls, or you're giving water to people, and you're in Africa and you see the struggles of those people, and just all those that it does weigh on us, and it does take some from you. So what inspired you? What happened in your life that you felt like, I need to be of service to people, I need to give in this way that I am? So what did it all start there? Like, what inspired you?
It's so funny when people ask me that. I'm one of those people that can say I was born that way. And the reason I can say it is because as early as I can remember, Girl Scouts aren't that big now, but I just remember when I was a Girl Scout, like little girl. Like I think I encountered Girl Scouts in first or second grade. And I just remember like the saying that we had to learn. And the saying was, on my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. And when I learned that, for most little kids, it was like, oh, I just have to learn something and I have to recite something. But for me to be this age that I am decades later and still remember that, I knew in that moment when I said those words, to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, it was something that was triggered in me as a little girl. Like people were working and they wanted to get the patches. You know how you want to work and get the patches in Girl Scout. I was really working because I wanted to help people. My favorite time of the year, people are always like, why are you so in love with Christmas? At a young age, I just knew that was the time of the year that I was allowed to give to people and serve to people without people questioning. Nobody questions why you want to give somebody food at Christmas. Nobody questions why you want to give somebody a gift. Nobody questions why you want to go to the old folks home. I love going to the old folks home when I was a kid. I don't know why. Singing the carols and making cookies with them. So I can authentically say that I was born this way. Throughout the journey of my life, I always wanted to help and serve people. You know, I remember in school, I wanted to help the kid that didn't have the lunch. I was always begging my mom, can I take 2 lunches? This person doesn't have food, or, you know, and my clothes got too small. I wanted to give them to someone else. So I think God revealed my purpose work to me at an early age. It cultivated, I believe, as an adult, because I realized when I got into my first career, when I worked in, I didn't even mention that, I worked in sports management for 16 years for NBA and NFL players. First degree was in communication. I thought I was going to work on ESPN, y'all. And second degree was in sports marketing and sports marketing and branding. I used to work for NBA and NFL players, and they had an extreme amount of money. And at that time, I realized, now, wait a minute, I have access to people that people respect on a different level, and I have access to funding. All I have to do is pick up the phone and say, well, such and such wants to do this, or such and such wants to do that. And so that's where I got to merge my purpose and my passion with me being paid. Because I used to tell the athletes, look, you know, I work for you for free. I make the money. They like, how? I'm like, you such and such. All I got to do is call and tell them, give me 100 computers. They're going to give me 100 computers. They ain't even going to ask why. And
Right,
so
right.
I think at the era and the time when I was doing this, there was no Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or anything like that. Athletes didn't understand the power that they had in our communities to help and to serve our communities. So that was one of the things that I took on and did, and then it just continued to grow. So my life, when people tell me how do I live my life now, I basically live it through purpose, then my peace, and then I get paid. So it's purpose, peace, paid, or peace, person, purpose, paid.
I love that. So you also had mentioned that you are an athlete, right? So
Yes, girl.
we love to be able to turn it off and on. You know, I tell people I gets down when it comes to working out. I can pull it back. I can, but when it's time to get dolled up, I can flip it. I can flip the switch on. But what are some things that you feel like athletics, like either being involved in high school or college, to help? Do you feel like being a part of athletics helped to shape who you are, or is there anything that you feel like you learned from athletics that defines or help you to be the woman that you are now, whether it's entrepreneur or whatever you're doing?
1000%. Athletics teaches you listening and discipline. These kids don't know how to listen to nobody. Okay. When you're an athlete and you grow up and you got somebody tell you what to do, when to do it, how to do it, when to eat, when to run, when to sit down, it switches your mindset to understand that it's okay for someone to lead or to guide you or to teach you. I think with the things that we're dealing with now, especially with our millennials and these kids, is that they don't understand respect. They don't understand being told anything. And when you're raised as an athlete, you don't have an option. I missed the Bobby Knight days. Now you couldn't even have a Bobby Knight. Imagine somebody throwing some chairs and kicking over some stuff.
Soon
People
as
will
fire.
be on Instagram talking about you being abused, and
You've been
and
looking for
it
a
was just a
job.
part. It was a part of your upbringing as an athlete to be pushed. I just remember one time, I hope my aunt watching this, she pulled my cousin out of sports one time, and she called the wrong person because she called me talking about, well, I went off on a coach because she said she had cramps and she didn't want to run. I was like, are you crazy? You did what? I was like, I wish I would, huh? And so I think being an athlete, I think parents and I think students are discounting how it can really change and prepare your life. And, even with my children now, everything is team. If you look on my Instagram, it's Team Foster. Me learning how to be on a team, me learning roles, me learning how to win and lose has changed my life. My life is defined by wins and losses. Okay. Everything in this house is a win or a loss. Either you win or you win. Okay. We don't even lose in here. We learn. And I think
Mhm.
you learn that through being an athlete. You learn team. I run my family as a team. Everybody has a position to play. You got to
Every
play your position in order for us to win.
the team
If
gonna
you
work.
don't
Yeah.
if you don't sweep the floor, then this person can't mop. If this person can't mop, then we can. It's team skills that turn into life skills
Yeah.
that most people don't know. I believe I didn't get pregnant and I wasn't promiscuous at a young age because of sports. I think that even with boys, if they are participating in sports and you going from sports to AAU and AAU to this camp, you only got 2.2 seconds to really be talking to a girl. She thinks she your girlfriend, but you ain't really got no time to really have no girlfriend either as a male athlete, or a female. Times are changing a little bit, because I was like, now, I don't know what y'all got going on. But then we didn't even have access to who we like or what we liked, because we were so focused on sports. So I think if we can implement sports back into a lot of our youth, I think our youth will have a better chance at life. I even said it in an interview. Shout out Kwame Kilpatrick. When he got released, I said people didn't understand, as a mayor, he was one of the people in Detroit that brought back a lot of youth athletics. He brought back PAL athletics, meaning he was taking the young boys off the street and giving them something to do: basketball, football, baseball. And so our local drug dealers and gangbangers were now more invested in the youth and making sure that they had something to do, because there was an athletic program connected to it. And so if you want to clean up the minds of children, if you want to clean up the street, all you got to do is give them some sports. They talking about defund the police and create some programs. Just put it in the sports. Give all these kids something to do. Let somebody else yell at them. Let somebody else tell them to run. Let somebody else tell them to sit down, be quiet, stand up, fight, and you will get a different outcome.
Sure will.
That's so much real. Now, just kind of going back to you mentioning the sports and how the sports kept you out of trouble. I was a virgin. I was 19 years old, and I already had homeboys and chick friends that had babies that were 2-3 years old, and I'm still, because all year round it was sports. We got football. Right after football is over, basketball. Right after basketball is over, it's baseball. Right after baseball is track, and then it's spring training for football. You started all the way back over, so there's not as much time to get in trouble. But having that as like your foundation, it kind of positions you to understand that, like there's a method to the operation, so to say. So as you mentioned, your purpose and your passion and all of that coming before the profit, my direction in my academics is social entrepreneurship. Whereas when you hear social and entrepreneurship in the same sentence, it's like an oxymoron. Like, what does one have to do with the other? But I started to do my research, and you will hear articles like how to do good and make well, or do good and earn well. So the work that you're doing, certain athletes, certain prominent individuals will want to attach themselves to that. And by default, that name being attached to it, the funding is going to come along, and then you're going to be good. So how do you somewhat pass that down actively or just passively to your youngsters? And like, what is that conversation in your household?
You said, what is that conversation in my household?
Right.
You froze. I'm sorry.
So, like the conversations that you have as far as the importance of being a part of a team, how do you express the importance of that to like your children? Are your children active in sports? Are they doing?
Get them now. You can't live in this house and not play a sport. I don't care which one it is, but you're gonna pick one. You cannot live in our household and not play a sport. And it's just not about the physical part of it. Like I said, it's them learning the teamwork. It's them dealing with other people. It's them learning winning and loss. I don't know if you ever met a child that has never lost before and they experience losing for the first time. You do not want your child to experience winning and losing, at an older age. It can really take a child out when they don't understand the concept of winning and losing. So my children are in sports. Ironically, I got some national champions around here. I'm heading to ESPN, Wide World of Sports. I don't know what made them pick cheer, but it's the biggest bill in my house right now. So I have some
sport,
national championship bring it on type of cheerleaders in my house, but they've tried to quit on me a couple times in sports, and it's definitely not an option in our household. They have to play sports. They have to be a part of a team. They have to learn teamwork. They have to learn working with other people. And it's crazy because as much as they don't get along in our house, I think almost every year that they participated in sports, they have won MVP voted by the members of their team, not even their coaches. And I'm always baffled because when they start giving the qualifications and say this person is a leader and they work well with others, I'm like, they're not talking about my child. And then they say their name.
Like, is this still the one to clean their room?
That's what I say. I say all the time, whose child are they talking about? So in that area, I am blessed.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Clear now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I don't know. But I was really wanting to tie it into how, when it comes to all the philanthropic work that you're doing, you understand that connecting yourself to that work and then being connected to these celebrities, some of these athletes, by default, the money is going to take care of itself because of, the value that's seen in the work that you're doing. Do you have that type of conversation with your kids as far as just go out there and do the right thing and the money is going to take care of itself? Because in my academic path, that's somewhat what I've been studying, social entrepreneurship, whereas you're putting together social activities or entrepreneurial activities for a social cause. So what is that dialogue like in your household as far as getting your kids to go after what you feel is the right thing to do, and the money will come after? Do you have that dialogue?
Absolutely. My children are passion based. People think I'm joking. As much as you may see me with name brand clothes and different things like that, they're not like that. I think if parents pay more attention to who their children are at a young age, their purpose and who they will be in life will be revealed at a very young age. We've honed in and really paid attention and listened to our children. I have my oldest biological would never go to college. I'm just being honest. I could waste the money, I could pay for it, I could push her to do it, but she doesn't have a mindset of a student that wants to go to college. And she really is a straight A student. Out of all of my children, I don't have to worry about her, but she has an entrepreneur spirit. She has a free spirit. She's very business savvy. My middle child right now runs a whole entire baking business. Like, it's very aggravating. I got flour on my ceiling, on my floor. She has orders out the wazoo, and she's an animal lover. Every animal we own that we have is because of her. I'm talking about dogs, cats, birds, fish, turtles, you name it, we have it. Okay. I'm saying all that to say that we have tapped into their passion, which most parents don't. They try to guide and lead and push their children to do things that they really don't do. And when you figure out what a child's passion is, or a person's passion and their purpose, once you allow them to tap into that and really live authentically in that, money will actually come. So you don't have to chase money. You don't have to look for money. Money will authentically come to you. I will even say, as a philanthropist, I've had some hard times as far as trying to raise funds or get people to believe in what it is that I believe in. But I always realize that when I stay true to what it is exactly that I'm supposed to be doing, what my calling is, and what makes me happy, money will come. It's just a matter of what do we perceive in this world or this life or social media as being successful or wealthy. Because I even talk to my friends now, there's this unrealistic stigma that's being placed on all of us, that all of us have to be millionaires, or all of us have to be rich, or all of us have to own our own business. And I don't think that's necessarily true. People say, oh, you say that because you have money and you own businesses. But I also realize too that I have met, encountered, and I'm friends with some amazing people that don't have $1 million, that don't own a business, and they are very happy. They have peace, and they are in their line of success of what it is that they need in their life to survive. So I
Yeah.
think that conversation really needs to be important, especially because of our children, because our children are almost selling their souls out here
Mhm.
in order to become rich or famous or what we deem quote unquote successful. And I honor both of you. I'll say this out loud, for even working with children. I just got chills. Being coaches, you don't understand the impact that you have on our future generation of leaders and children, and that sports do matter, teachers do matter, the people that speak into their lives and pour into them on a daily day-to-day basis are the ones that are really going to form and shape who they are. So imagine if you took the stand, I don't want to be a coach no more, and I don't want to deal with athletics and kids because I really just need to be a millionaire, and I need to go teach this class for $5,099 on how you can be an even a better coach, and you lose track of what the calling is and what it is that you're supposed to do, then we lose a whole generation of
Yeah,
people because you miss your calling.
absolutely. You
For
know,
real.
I remember Proverbs, I believe like 18 says that a man's gift makes room for him. And so I was a really good coach. I had, and I still am, but I had a lot of, awards and trophies and all that stuff, but I wanted to make an impact on a bigger scale. And so I said, what can, when you constantly, you're in the system and you see the cycle of the same kids, they come, they do the sports, they running, they working, the coaches got trophy, and then you never hear about that kid again, and then I just felt like, instead of always trying to approach the students or the athletes, let me coach the coaches on what type of program they need to have in order to make sure that, I remember when I was coaching when I got my first head coaching job as a track coach, I took so much heat. Like I was constantly in the office talking to athletic directors and UIL people because they could not understand, why aren't you just coaching track? Why are you talking about life? Why are you talking about challenges of being a Black woman? Why are you talking about this, that, and the other? Why aren't you coaching? And I told them, I said, as long as I'm in this body, I'm in this skin, if I can coach them about life, I can coach track all day. But see, they stopped messing with me because they couldn't understand why we were winning back to back to back to back to back. And that's because I was more interested in building their life and pouring into their life, that whatever I asked them to do, whether it was go run from here to San Antonio, they may look at me like I'm crazy, but they went, and so that's what it was about for me. And so I said, God, what is it that you want me to do? Because I can be an impact on this high school campus, or I can make an impact in the world. And so I want to make an impact in the world and teach coaches how to create these programs so that we can have students that come in there and not just say, okay, I was the varsity, number one varsity running back in the world. Okay, but now what? What are you doing now? Maybe, like you said, like your daughter, maybe everybody's not meant for college, but that doesn't mean that you can't be productive. That doesn't mean that you can do something in this world and be successful at whatever success looks like for you. But our, community makes it seem like if you're not if you're not on top of your stuff 24/7, and you're not driving the cars with that cost $1 million, and you're not going to do this and spending money on that, then you're not successful. And so people start feeling like they're failing because they're measuring their success to what somebody else thinks their success is. But that's what's so important and so great about when we talk about God said that our gifts will make room for us. That means the money will come, the people will come, the resources will come. All you have to do is continue to work within your gift. So with you doing all the things that you're doing, how do you find balance of being, because we need time too to be a woman, right? Like I know for me, I'm like, hey, sometimes I'm like, look, I don't want to be strong today. Today I just want to relax. If I feel like crying or screaming or cussing or watching the news or drinking coffee or whatever I want to do, I want to do it without feeling like, because when we go out there in the world, especially as Black women, we go out there, we got to be ready for whatever comes. And so that's the beauty of having athletics, knowing how to bounce back and win and lose. And we don't look at it as losing. We look at it as, hey, that's a learning opportunity. I'm going to, I'm going to build from that. What can I grab from that and turn it into what I needed it to be? So how do you find that balance of being a woman, being a mother, being a wife, being a servant, being? How do you find balance in that? Like, what do you do what do you give yourself when you're not giving to everyone else?
I tell people, first of all, there is no balance. None. There's no such thing as balance. No, I don't think it's a balance. I think it's selecting and choosing. And so in my life, I use the WIN formula. What's important now? That's the only thing that I can do to divide my life when need be. And it's Chanita, what's important now? And every day it might be something different. What's important now today is my health and me. So some days is all about self-care. It's got to be all about me. I don't care. Even my kids get it. When the door closed, I mean, don't even open it. Don't talk to me. Don't ask me for nothing. I don't even say the word mommy. They just get it, because in order for me to be a great version of me, I need time for me. And that's something I had to learn. And I had to be selfish with me, because oftentimes we give ourselves so much that we don't learn how to take out time for ourselves. And when we do, we allow other people to make us feel bad about it. So that's the first thing. I don't feel bad about being selfish with me. I don't feel bad about sleep. I don't feel bad about going to vacation by myself. I do not feel bad about buying overpriced food and eating it on my own. I don't feel bad about my Starbucks coffee. The things that people used to be able to make me feel bad about, I don't feel bad about those things. And that's especially when it comes for me. Now, the WIN formula, like I said, for my life, there is no balance, but I have to select what is important now. And each day I wake up and I have to say, what is actually important now on my list of things to do. And yes, I still write a list of things to do. So, like, even right now, one of my what's important now on my list is tax season. And so I wake up every day thinking about taxes. Who filing taxes? Who need their taxes done? We're doing PPP loans. And so for right now, if you picked up the phone and you were my friend or you would call me, it would sound like all I'm talking about right now is taxes. But if you call me next week and I say what's important now, it would be heading into towards the end of the month. Do I have food for my programs for Beyond the Game? Did we hit our sanitary napkin goal? Do all the girls have what they need? So I really live my life off of the WIN formula, which is what's important now. And that can change. And I think people need to realize in life that you're allowed to change. What's important to you today might not be important to you tomorrow. It's about how you process it and how you align it. Shout out to all the mothers. I tell people all the time, being a mother, yes, it's a full-time job. Being a mother is a lifelong job, but does it have to take over your entire life or your entire day every single day? And my answer is no. Some days they just survive and they got food, they have water, they have shelter. They're not going to die if they don't get my undivided attention for 24 hours. There's some mothers out there that feel like if they don't go to every PTA meeting, if they don't sit on every homeschool class, then they're a failure. Let me tell you something. I've been homeschooling my kids way before the pandemic, and I do not sit on every class. I do not answer every email. And I don't be knowing what's going on with the test till the teacher called me. Some of these people trying to turn into teachers. You're not a teacher. You're a parent. The teacher's supposed to teach. You're supposed to parent. So use the WIN formula, and I think you'll give yourself a little wiggle room to understand that there really is no balance. It's just about what's important right now.
Yeah.
Man, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because ever since I came back to Mississippi from Miami back in 2015, I would always get that, Brian, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I'm like, you don't know my pace. Like, I have to be intentionally off balance at least during a period of time to make sure I get taken care of what needs to be taken care of right now. So I love that formula. What's important now? I'm gonna use it, but
Don't be stealing my stuff.
I'm gonna give you credit. But yeah, like, that's so important. Whereas people will slow their progress down in life because they're afraid of what the outside world is going to say about what they're doing. And, people will look at you and say, she's doing all these different things. Like, her life has got to be chaotic on purpose. But I know what's important now, and that's where I'm giving my attention. So it's not like from the outside looking in, it may be chaotic, but there's a method to my madness. And I understand that method. Something you mentioned a little bit earlier, and I think it warrants to be hit on again, is a lot of people will look at how you dress, how you portray yourself. Very you don't shy away from spoiling yourself. You don't shy away from being the best and showing yourself at the best. And a lot of people will see that and automatically judge themselves. Well, that's because you got money, that's because this, that's because that. But they don't understand what it took to get there. They don't understand the work that went into you actually getting there. So what would you say about those people that look at social media and they automatically discredit themselves because they don't see the possibility of getting to where you are?
It's funny, because I get the phone calls every once in a while, hey, shout out to my Christian friends. Y'all know I got friends everywhere.
Give it up
The
for
church
the
people,
Thank you,
be giving
Lord.
me a run for my money. All the preachers, the pastors, the prophets out there, I always have to, it's this Chanita line. I get this borderline of where the stop button is. Whenever I post in a swimsuit, I always post and I have to put at the bottom, Christians wear swimsuits too. Like, y'all tripping. But I think for me, I am so transparent a lot of times, especially with my body, who I am, without trying to be raunchy, is because I've been on, I think, the weight loss roller coaster that most people are. We live in the most overweight country in the entire world. And I tell people all the time, baby, the day I go have surgery, I promise y'all gonna know, because I want my booty to sit up like Nicki Minaj. And and towards my bottom, I would take in my thighs. I just think that everybody thinks that there has to be a cheat code for everything. And I try to be transparent about who I am on my good days and my bad days. That's why I even started talking about photoshopping. I was a Photoshop master. I had 5, 6, 8 apps on my phone. I gotta drop my photo in 8 apps before I was able to even post a picture. And I got to a point where I was like, this tiring. Like, I have to get to a point where I at least, love me. Like today, there's no filter. Like, I had to get to a place where I fell in love with me, or I got myself to a place where I was comfortable enough to be me. And so, yeah, I get some backlash for waist trainer videos and liquid lipo videos. They're like, oh, she's just trying to show off her body. I'm like, no, I'm just trying to sell a product, because people overweight out there and they're struggling, and it's possible. And I don't understand, even too, I was watching Bridgerton's. They just proved my point. I don't think waist trainers are magic, but Bridgerton proved my point on the very first episode where the mother was putting a daughter in a corset, and she was pulling this corset so tight. And she was like, when I was 23 years old, I could squeeze an orange through a something, something. And I was like, I'm going to record that and show people, because weight loss and body images have just been a part of the world forever. And so I don't think I'm doing anything new. I don't know. I'm tweaking in my own way. But yeah, I get in trouble. Trust me. My phone rings. The pastors call. Okay. I get kicked out the church panels. Y'all ain't seen me do. Most of the time I'm speaking for the church, because they say I tell the truth. I ain't been on a couple church panels lately, because I've been in sports bras and pants. But hey, it's what it is.
It is. And I remember when I used to do a lot. When I first started speaking, I was asked to speak at a church. And so I told the pastor, I was like, I don't know the whole Bible like memorized. Like, I know what God's done for me, but I don't know it all. He was like, and that's why we want you to go up there. And I was like, okay. So, I started speaking on these certain things, and then I started doing women's conferences like at churches, and I would tell the women, when God created us, why do you think he gave us the things that he gave us? He made us to be visually, attractive, so that, you can be your man, your husband can look at you, and he can love you. And he would, if he didn't want us to look like that, he would have made us all look the same. We would have nothing, no curves, no butt, no chest, we just look like a stick, So I said, it's nothing wrong with, and that's what a lot of problems with people in their relationship, when they get too holy or too Christian, they forget that you was a woman first, and you still have an obligation to yourself and to the person or to your husband that you're with to be your best you. God wants us to be our best us. And so as long as you are not being disrespectful to yourself or to your family, I be telling people like, so what you want me to wear, a blanket? They come out, in Jesus' name. I'm like, I probably have a stronger relationship with God than most people that, are willing
to the church.
and to their ankles, I said, so I'm going to still be sexy, but still make sure that I be, that I'm respectful to myself. So we do get this whole like, hey, you can't do that. You can't do this if you want to be a Christian woman. It's like, well, that doesn't define my relationship with God. So I appreciate you, just being who you are and talking about the things that is important to you. So what do you have going on right now as far as events and how people can support you in what you're doing? Because like I said, I saw that when I first initially saw your page. I don't even remember how I came across your page. And so I told, Ryan, I always find all the guests, and I was like, and I think it was one time I saw a video, you was on there and you were saying, when you start to like, you really start realizing who your real friends are or people that's in your circle. And I was like, yeah, here we go. We always have a situation going on, but I just felt like it is so important for me because people tend to create their own story of who you are based on what they see in a 30-second picture or a 5-minute, a 5-second video that you shoot or whatever. And so I was just so interested in knowing who you are and the things that you're doing because people, I really truly feel like you're living life on purpose. You're doing it. And when I look at women like you, I'm trying to get connected because I'm like you. I ain't got to take over and I don't want to take over. Just knowing how can I be an asset? How can I help with what you're doing? What gifts, the gifts that I have, what can I bring to what you're doing that's to be a blessing to you and to what you're doing, but also be a blessing for me. And so I've always been like that. I've always constantly always wanted to pour out and make connections. And so one thing that me and Brian were, he's into social work. That's what his degree's in. And so I've always been on the athletic side. So when I got my doctorates in sports administration, we came together. What are the two things that people need the most in athletics? You look at the psychology side and you look at athletics and and I've always been very passionate about about our youth, but in particular our young Black males. And as you had mentioned earlier, if we can just start making the sports work for us. I always talk about, I just love LeBron, right? Not only is he a great player, but I feel like he uses his platform for what it's supposed to be. He uses his voice to say, hey, this stuff not right. When he decided to get people together to say, hey, we're not going to play, but I think when they went maybe 2 weeks or a week without playing, everybody thought the whole world was going to shut down. They were like, oh my God, but then it started making people more aware when they say, okay, we want you to play. So what do you want? So now you see the t-shirts of we love Black people and Black Lives Matter. I was like, I don't even know half those people are wearing that shirt if they really feel like that. But they're like, you're going to wear this freaking shirt, okay? Because if you don't wear this shirt, they're going to stop dribbling this basketball and then we're not going to get paid. So I just really like the fact that he, stands up for what he believes and that he continues to use his voice because there's so many out there who don't even understand the type of influence that they have. And so I just truly appreciate you in making those connections and doing all the things that you're doing, because our community needs to see more women like you. And so what are some of the events or what are some things that you have going on right now or projects that we can be a better support, and that people can find you and I'm sure you got a lot, but what do you have going on that you want to share with us, that people can go out and support you in your business or what you're doing?
So, okay, let's go with maybe my top three. So my top three, a period is not a punishment. I am trying to get 100 girls sponsored for 2021. It's $5 a month. You don't even understand. It's only $5 a month. So you just go to beyondthegame.org. You click donation, type in $5. It allows you to put in reoccurring. That $5 a month allows us to purchase sanitary napkins for a girl across Africa so she can continue to go to school, to go to church, to play with friends. So I think last night with Peggy Vanderway coming on, Kiki Vanderway's wife, the actual president of the NBA. Thank you, Peggy. I think she's number 20. So I only have 20 people committed so far for $5 a month. So that's the first one. My second main project is clean water with the KJM Foundation. and Ghana. It's really important to me. I committed to 4 water projects this year. I think the organization is committed, I think, to 30 across Ghana this year. So donating for fresh, clean water. We started a legacy program where for $100, you can put your name on the legacy project and actually have your name at the water site when we dedicate it. Sorry. Hold on. My TV came on. Sorry, I had the TV on pause for so long. So literally, that's my second project. Why? The TV hates me, y'all. Hold on one second. It's the devil. It was quiet the whole time.
Okay. And you said that's in Ghana. The water project is in Ghana, right?
Yeah, the water project is actually in Ghana. So that's my second main focus this year. And then my coaching is really important. You can slide in my DM. I'm reworking my site, but I'm very passionate about business and personal coaching and changing people's lives across the world in whatever capacity they need. So those are the 3 things. You can find me anywhere. ChanitaFoster.com, Chanita Foster on Instagram, Chanita Foster on Twitter, Chanita Foster on Facebook. You see how it all match. I tell these people marketing and branding, everything needs to match. You can't be Rosebud 3265 on one page
and
and
Big
be
Mama
named
69
something else
on
somewhere
the other. Well, I'm just so from just woman to woman, I'm just speechless. But continue to do the things that you're doing and continue to lead the way, because I'm behind you. I'm following. Okay. So, we here at the Black Podcast, as I mentioned earlier, within our organization, HSBA, we have a mentorship and leadership program that we're implementing into colleges, into high schools, and also 8th grade, where we're teaching them self-identity and setting boundaries and relevant relationships and just how to make that successful transition, and also coaching the coaches on how to improve on their athletic program so that we can be productive in our community, and making sure that we're not just using these sports for hardware just to get a trophy, but that we're preparing these students and these kids for life, or whatever that their life and their endeavors may be. And so we will definitely make sure that we can continue to connect with you.
They're in the mentorship program. Just call me, and I'm volunteering some athletes. They don't know, but they volunteer.
Okay.
They don't have a choice.
Okay, well, we thank them for for volunteering, and we thank you for volunteering them. And
Yes.
so, but you are truly a blessing, and continue to do all the things that you're doing, because you're doing it all well. And we're your biggest cheerleader. We're here. We're going to continue to support you, and just thank you for just being very real and showing up with your knee all banged up, and you still look beautiful. And so we're just you're truly a blessing to our Black community. You're truly a blessing to women, and you're just truly a blessing to be just being you. So thank you for that, and we just really enjoyed having you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, indeed. Now you be careful with that knee. Get it back right. So
no more problems.
Quarterback again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, talk to you soon. Bye.
You take care.
Wow, a woman of many, 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 many gifts and talents, and all of them include being productive in the community. All of them include being some type of servant on whatever platform she decides to do. And so we're just very honored and grateful to have Dr. Foster here. And listening to all, some of you guys don't know, she's been on everything: BET, Oprah, Forbes this, Forbes that. She's been on a whole lot of things. And so, but you can see that her heart is in the right place, and that she's not about just making money, but using her gifts. And as we talked about earlier, God told us that your gifts will make room for you. So whatever it is that He wants you to do, whether it's to be a millionaire, if that's what your gift produces out of you, then that's what your gift produces. But if you only make $500,000, or you only make $100,000, but you're operating in your gift at the best that you can, and living your full potential, that's rich already. And so we want to encourage people to make sure that you please share this video because it's important that we're sharing the knowledge and the love with other people in our community, because you never know who needs to be inspired, who wants to be, that mother out there that may feel like, well, I can't be all these things and be a mother. Yes, you can. She's operating 8 different businesses and being a wife and being a mother and everything else that she's doing. So you can do it. It's just what she talked about earlier. What's important to me right now? What do I need to do right now that's going to be productive, and that's also going to fulfill whatever purpose that I have in my life? So I just felt like she was amazing, and I really enjoyed hearing all the different organizations and projects that she has.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. We're going to be continuing to bring more and more great guests like her, just across the spectrum, to show that we are not a monolith. We don't all look alike. We don't all do the exact same thing. We don't represent the same things. We have our own space that we occupy, and we can be great regardless of what that space is. So those are the examples that we're looking to bring to you on a day-to-day or a week-to-week basis. And with that being said, we will be right back here next week, same place, same time. Our guest for next week, we're all goes according to plan. We'll have a somewhat of a hometown story. A gentleman that grew up not too far from me, but has been traveling the nation, bringing some good cooking to individuals and being spotlight on the national media for the work he's done. With that being said, guys, y'all have a wonderful remainder of your Thursday. We'll see you next. Share this video. We're live every week on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook. Search through all of those platforms. Look at my Facebook page, and you can find links to all of those. My Instagram as well. Off that note, we're out. Y'all take care now.